Hey there, in this lecture, let's study about the commercialization of Indian agriculture. It is important for us to remember that the commercialization of Indian agriculture started in the next half of 19th century. So before this period, before the commercialization of Indian agriculture started, agriculture was considered to be the way of our life. It was a part of our life. We never considered agriculture as a business enterprise. But after the commercialization of Indian agriculture, agriculture was now considered as a business enterprise, as a result of which we started growing only those particular crops which had a lot of remuneration in the market. And the crops grown were not for the consumption purpose, but it was to be sold in the national and the international markets. So what kind of crops did we grow? We started growing a lot of commercial crops like cotton, jute, oilseed, groundnut, sugarcane, tobacco. Because these plants had a lot of remuneration, it had a lot of demand in the market, as a result of which the price of these commodities was also high. And not just these crops, but a lot of other crops like spices, fruits, vegetables were grown. And it is again important for us to remember that this commercialization trend was the highest in the plantation sector. So it was in this plantation sector where the commercialization trend was absolutely high. What all are present in this plantation sector? We have crops like tea, coffee, rubber, indigo, and all. It is important that we remember plantation sector was completely owned by the Europeans. So this plantation sector was under the control of Europeans, and whatever we were able to produce was sold by the Europeans in the national and the international markets. So this one is about a little bit introduction to when the commercialization of Indian agriculture started, and what it meant, and what kind of change did we see after the commercialization of Indian agriculture. And now let's study about what factors facilitated this process of commercializing our agriculture. See, one is the spread of money market. We now no more had barter system in our economy. There was this money economy which started emerging, as a result of which there was a lot of boost to the trade, and hence the commercialization of agriculture did start. And the second reason is that the customs and traditions were now replaced with competition and contract, because now at this point of time in the market there was heavy competition. There were a lot of traders who were indulging in buying and selling of goods, and there was a lot of competition out there in the market, as a result of which gradually the customs and the traditions which were followed by the peasants got eroded to some extent. And this in fact again contributed to enhancing this trend of commercialization in the Indian agriculture. And then the third one is about the emergence of the national market. So there was this unified national market which emerged, as a result of which there was a boost to the internal trade. And the internal trade increased because of the development in communications, because railways were laid, the roads were laid. So railways and roads connected a lot of places, and this made the internal trade to happen in a very easy manner. So there was a boost to the internal trade at this point of time. And when internal trade increased, Britishers started to commercialize our Indian agriculture, and then the commercialization started. And the fourth reason was that the British finance capital did enter India. As a result of this finance capital, there was a boost to the international trade. So when international trade enhanced, Europeans had this zeal of commercializing our Indian agriculture. So these are the 5 important factors which resulted in commercializing our Indian agriculture. And now let's study about the reaction of peasants. Let's understand if the peasants were happy with this commercialization or not. See, we should understand that because of this process of commercialization in Indian agriculture, we started to cultivate all those crops which had remuneration and demand in the market. And because of this, our Indian agriculture was connected to international market. Because of this connection, because of this linkage, we got to see a lot of price fluctuations. So peasants were very doubtful about whether a particular crop had to be grown or not, because they were uncertain if they would get good remuneration for that crop or not. So this was a big tension that they had. So definitely they were not happy with this process of commercializing our Indian agriculture. And the other thing was that to invest in commercial crops, peasants had to have a lot of money. Peasants did not have any surplus, so it became absolutely difficult for the peasants to invest in the commercial crops. So this was another major hurdle that they had when this process of commercialization started. So you can clearly see that the peasants were not at all in mode of supporting it. Hence, we get to see a lot of agrarian riots turning up in the Deccan region, especially in 1870s. And let's take a case study. See, in 1860s, the price of the cotton got increased. As a result of this increase in the price of cotton, intermediaries turned out to be the beneficiaries. Peasants did not get anything. Usually, peasants should be happy when the price of their commodity increases, but this was not the case. Intermediaries got benefits when the price of the cotton increased in 1860s. And then in 1866, there were price fluctuations, as a result of which the cotton price reduced. And when the price reduced, the cultivators had to suffer. Initially, when the prices increased, intermediaries were happy. When prices decreased, intermediaries were not affected at all. Rather, the cultivators were affected. So, in any situation, either the cultivator is expressionless or he is depressed. Cultivator was not happy at all. Right? And when cultivator faced losses because of the slump in the prices in 1886, cultivators fell into the debt trap. Because of the poverty and lack of food, there were famines which happened in India. And as a result of all these issues, Deccan witnessed agrarian riots in 1870s. So we can clearly see that cultivators were not beneficiaries of this commercialization trend of our Indian agriculture. So that's about the commercialization of Indian agriculture. Thank you.